our relationship with Islam is under attack from two directions: an outside attack and an inside attack. There's an outside way to lose your way, and there's an internal way to lose your way. I want to talk about the outside, and then I'll talk about the inside. On the outside, I'll mention 3 episodes in Muslim history. One episode was when Muslims came into contact with Greek philosophy. Many of you are familiar, yeah? And the philosophers were making rational arguments, and human beings are just purely rational, and Greek logic came, and Muslims had to respond to that. And many people got very affected by that logic, by that kind of thinking. And what does that logic do in the end? It does a few things. Either it makes somebody an atheist. That's one thing it does. Or it makes somebody an agnost. Do you guys know what an agnost is? I don't know. Could be, could not be. Who knows? Right? That's what they become. They become moral relativists. I mean, this is good. What's good and what's bad? Who knows? Right? So you just kind of become morally agnostic. You become atheistic. You become those things. And this happened centuries ago. Is that still playing a role today? Yeah, it happened. And it's still playing a role. That was one kind of external attack. And its effects are still here, even though philosophy, in a sense, died. But its effects are still alive. Another wave of attack that came was a kind of perennialism. And I'll explain what that means. It means, look, you have to be spiritual in the end, but even Hindus are spiritual. Buddhists are also spiritual. Christians are also spiritual. There are other religions that are spiritual, and every religion says be kind to your neighbor. Every religion says be nice to your mom. Every religion says give charity. Every religion says be humble, be grateful. So we're all the same. It's really just, okay, you go to a temple, I go to a mosque, but in the end, it's all just we're just one big happy spiritual family, right? So why can't we all just why do we have to emphasize our differences? That sounds really nice. That sounds really nice. You could bring a bunch of people from different religions and say, hey, you like being nice to neighbors too? I haven't seen it, but okay. Me too. Right? We believe in the same values, basically the same. What's actually going on? Well, if that's what we have in common, let's focus on what we have in common, and the other things must not be that important. Right? So what happens to people within a certain religion, even within Islam? Well, I'm a good person. I take care of my family. I give charity. I'm honest at work. I do good business, etc., etc. So what if I don't pray? Okay, I don't go to Hajj. I'm still a good person. What's the important thing in Islam is to be a good person. Your clothing doesn't make you a good person. Your little tajweed class doesn't make you a good person. Well, so what if you memorize the Quran? That doesn't make you a good person. Of course, you have never heard something like this before, have you? Or you have? This was actually a philosophy. In India, for example, there was Deen Ilahi by Akbar, right? Who basically took some things from Hinduism, some things from Islam, something from Buddha, mixed it all up, made a masala, and said, here, the first 1,000 years of Islam are done. The next Al-Faisani, meaning he said that the next 1,000 years we'll have this new religion which mixes all the other religions together. Let's just have a mishmash and just be spiritual. This is, by the way, I've seen some of this in America. You go to California and you see a guy like a surfer dude, and he's got like a t-shirt on with a hilal and a Star of David and a crucifix and a yin and yang. And he's got all of them. On his t-shirt and on his car, he's got all those stickers. Peace, man. Right. What's the point of that? The point of that is to water down the religion so there's nothing left of your religion. By the way, if your religion is like every other religion, then do you really have a unique identity? No. You don't. You no longer have an identity, right? And that wave also came in our history. This is not a new thing. This came centuries ago. But do we still see the effects of that philosophy today? Yeah, so we see the effects of Greek philosophy in the form of atheism, agnosticism, and other things. We see the effects of this perennialism in the form of I'm spiritual but not Islamic. You see this kind of wave. And then there's a third wave. And the third wave, of course, was science, the scientific revolution, which changed everything. Because now we don't have to worry about spirituality because we don't know if there's such a thing as a spirit. It's not scientifically provable. We don't have to worry about Greek logic, because Greek logic is not getting us into scientific discovery. Philosophy is dead. Spirituality is dead. The new king is science. And science will get us truth. Science is going to move us forward. Science will give us invention and industry and engineering and new products and services. It'll move society forward. This is the way we find the truth. And when the world became obsessed with science at the turn of the last couple of centuries, as a result of that, there was actually huge developments in science all of a sudden. Massive developments in science. So when you see a return on investment, you start thinking, yeah, this works. And you know what's crazy? With science comes materialism. So with philosophy came atheism and agnosticism. With perennialism came kind of your religion gets watered down. And with science came what? Materialism. Because science is a focus on what? Material. It's physics, it's chemistry, it's biology. It's the material part of the human being. If you're studying the human being and you say, nafs means myself, what does a scientist see as themselves? Brain cells, heart, organs. This is myself. Is there anything more to myself? No, it doesn't show up on a scan. This is what the self is. That's all there is to it. So if you want to study yourself, this is what you study, right? So spirituality, after the scientific revolution, needs to be replaced with psychology. We don't need spirituality, we need psychology. We need to study psychiatry. We need to study chemical imbalances, because all of your behaviors in the end are just neurons firing and chemical processes. That's all you are. There's nothing more to you. You're just a blob of chemicals. That's what your existence is. And if that is the case, what goes away with it? Well, since there is no real thing such as spirituality, how do you explain religions? Well, religions must be a psychological disorder. Religions must be people that they're just not scientific enough. That's why they're religious. If they were scientific, they wouldn't be religious. So you have to pick whether you're a science person or a religion person. And if you're intellectual, you'll pick science. And if you're not that smart, you'll pick religion. This is the choice you have, right? By the way, before, people used to say, if you're smart, you'll pick philosophy. And if you're stupid, you'll pick religion. And before that, and after that, they said, if you're smart, you'll just take the general spirituality. But if you're stupid, you'll be very hardline about your religion. And now they say, well, if you're smart, you'll pick science. But if you're not that sophisticated, you'll just choose your religion, right? Is this a conversation that's alive and well today? Yeah. You know what's crazy? As many of you may not be familiar with this, and I recommend a book. I've recommended it in previous lectures. It's called Ideology of the Future by Dr. Fariduddin. It's brilliant. When Einstein showed that Newton was wrong, because Newton said matter can neither be created nor destroyed, right? So matter is forever. It's lam yalid wa lam yulad. That's what his definition of matter is. But Einstein showed that matter can be converted into what? Energy. So matter can be destroyed. Did you know that at that time, scientists in Germany, scientists in France, scientists in America, scientists in England went into deep depression? And they write about their depression. Because for them, the one thing that was giving them haqq, truth, the one thing that never changes is matter. They were materialists. And what did Einstein come and do? Yeah, that's just energy. What? This is nothing? Then I have nothing. And they fell into such dark, deep depression. And they write about this. It's well documented. But you know what? Even though scientists recognize that materialism is dead, materialism didn't just remain in the scientific laboratory and universities. Materialism became a culture. Just like agnosticism became a culture. Just like relativism and religion, it's all the same. That became a culture. So even people that are not intellectual have these ideas. This is not just ideas for professors in universities or PhD papers. Now these things became part of popular culture. So all of these things are now common among just general populations. They have these kinds of ideas, they carry them. These are the external attacks. These are the external attacks.